Caio Bajo and Hamzat Chimaev, a friendly rivalry in the making. Caio Bajo's training trip to Sweden may have looked like a simple exercise in skill building, but few realized just how much of Hamzat Chimaev's game he was soaking up. Caio wasn't there to play tourist. He was laser-focused on Chimaev's every step. From takedown entries to subtle weight shifts in the clinch, Caio studied each move like his career depended on it. According to him, that time in Sweden, plus additional sessions in Las Vegas, gave him a deep blueprint of Chimaev's tendencies, knowledge he believes could translate directly into fight night dominance. Ever since Hamzat burst onto the scene, fans and fighters alike have debated who might be the one to solve his relentless pressure. For Caio, it's not just talk. He insists he has the advantage. He's been frank about the respect he holds for Hamzat's wrestling, calling it next level. But that respect hasn't diminished his confidence. Caio claims that during those 5 weeks of drilling takedowns, scrambles, and stand-up combos, he quietly memorized patterns that most of Hamzat's future foes will never see coming. Paddy Pimblett's bold message to Michael Chandler. Paddy Pimblett has never been one to hold back his opinions. Flashy, outspoken, and bigger than life, both figuratively and literally, given his notorious off-season bulks, he's now hurling his most brazen challenge yet at Michael Chandler. The talk swirling around this matchup paints Paddy as a major underdog, with some fans predicting a highlight reel knockout that spells doom for his hype train. Yet the man himself couldn't care less about the critics or the betting odds. In a recent interview, Paddy dismissed Chandler's perceived power advantage, emphasizing that he doesn't plan to run or spend all night grappling. Instead, he claims he'll welcome the firefight on the feet, fully convinced Chandler won't even get close enough to land the bombs that made him famous. The audacity is pure Paddy. No filters, no caution, just unwavering self-belief. Chandler, of course, is no novice to these situations. He's competed at the highest levels, tasted both the sting of defeat and the glory of marquee victories. Bisping's big prediction: Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria. Michael Bisping has never been afraid to speak his mind, and he's causing a stir by suggesting a startling move. Islam Makhachev locking horns with Ilia Topuria. With titles on the line and multiple divisions in flux, the UFC's matchmakers love a big money fight. According to Bisping, that means they might skip the usual contender route and thrust Ilia straight into a showdown with the lightweight champ. Why bypass the typical grind of facing top contenders first? Bisping spells it out. If Ilia tangles with someone like Justin Gaethje or Arman Tsarukyan and suffers a defeat, the hype behind a Makhachev versus Topuria clash diminishes. In a sport where timing and narrative can outweigh raw rankings, the UFC might be unwilling to risk the golden goose of a champion versus champion storyline, or at least a champion aiming to be champion in multiple divisions. Jalen Turner's shock, retirement, and Aljamain, Sterling's advice. In a sport where momentum can shift in a heartbeat, Jalen Turner's recent loss was more than just another mark on his record. After being submitted by triangle choke in the very first round, he dropped a bombshell: retirement. The emotion was raw, and for a fighter who has won only one of his last 5 matches, the frustration is understandable. Still, many were caught off guard by how sudden and decisive his announcement felt. Aljamain Sterling, no stranger to setbacks or the mental toll the fight game can inflict, urged Turner to press pause before making any life-altering calls. Sterling spoke openly about how losing in devastating fashion can cloud a fighter's judgment. In his view, Turner needs time. Time away from the gym, time with family, and time to sort through the swirl of disappointment. Only then, Sterling advises, should he figure out if the burning desire to compete still exists. If Turner's departure becomes permanent, it's a somber reminder that behind the highlight reels and viral knockouts lie real people dealing with heartbreak. Tom Aspinall's fighter ratings and John Jones's next-level persona. Tom Aspinall hopped onto TikTok recently, rating his peers on everything from ring IQ to finishing instincts, sparking fierce debates across message boards and social media. Aspinall's assessments weren't shy. He handed out high scores to Alex Volkanovski for sheer consistency and to Alex Pereira for devastating striking. Even Dricus du Plessis notched a high mark, with Tom praising his awkward yet effective style that leaves opponents baffled. Tucked into that list was a near-perfect rating for John Jones, whom Aspinall described as close to unstoppable. And that might be an understatement. From wrestling to striking, Jones has so many tools that picking his next challenger practically turns into a guessing game. As rumors swirl about potential super fights and the ticking clock on Jones' career, fans can't help but wonder, will we see him face a fellow legend like Alex Pereira? Or will a younger contender like Aspinall step up and attempt the impossible? Serra vs. Tim Welch. Corner tensions exposed. Anyone who has watched a Sean O'Malley fight has likely heard Tim Welch's booming voice echoing directions. But is that always fair game? In a spicy interview, Serra made his stance crystal clear. Shouting instructions to the opponent mid-fight crosses the line from strategy to something more dirty. Serra pointed to Welch's actions during O'Malley's clash with Aljamain Sterling, suggesting it might have contributed to Aljo's knockout loss. He also highlighted another incident involving Merab Dvalishvili, where Welch's hollering led referee Herb Dean to pause the fight momentarily. Serra pulled no punches, labeling Welch's approach a little expletive, even if it doesn't necessarily violate any official rule. It's an ethics debate. Do you push the boundaries in a high-stakes fight if you believe it gives your fighter an edge? Or do you respect an unwritten code of conduct that many veterans uphold? Welch, for his part, responded with a dismissive sheesh, refusing to engage further in public mudslinging, a sport on the brink of change. From Caio Bajo's cool confidence in a potential bout against his former training partner Khamzat Chimaev, to Paddy Pimblett's unwavering stance against doubters who see him getting flattened by Michael Chandler, the biggest theme here is transformation. Fighters evolve, alliances dissolve, and the question of who stands on top can change overnight. Michael Bisping's prediction that Ilia Topuria might skip straight to a title shot with Islam Makhachev underscores just how quickly the UFC can pivot when there's a compelling storyline and big money to be made.